everybody. Welcome to this edition of Addiction, where we're talking about all things addiction and how it's possible to heal it and overcome it. Exciting. It's one of my favorite topics, actually, because it's a very traumatic thing, isn't it? That stops people living the life that they really deserve. It's one of my passions in the future to have like an holistic health hub helping people with addiction. So like real rehab, but that actually, get to the root and help them that way. So Laura, it's great to see you as well. Do you want to start?
Sure, yes. It's good to be here. Welcome. This is a very, very, very important topic. It also hits very close to home for me as I watched my ex-husband go from taking just a relaxing Xanax, and 10 years later, he was a full-blown drug addict. And I lived it for over 10 years. It was very difficult. And because I was a little bit naive, I didn't understand what drug addiction looked like. And it destroyed, you guys know my story. It ended in a terrible divorce, very traumatic, very deceitful. It was awful. It was awful. So this topic hits close to home. My father was an alcoholic. My brother was an alcoholic. And I heard one thing that was said a lot of times while I was growing up, and it was something about it runs in my family. It runs in my family. So I'm going to come across this topic of addiction from a different side than Rachel, because I don't want us both to talk about the same thing. Otherwise, it'd be both of us attacking you. So she's going to go into the trauma of why the addiction is there. And I'm going to talk about the lifestyle issues and how we leave ourselves very exposed, and how it's actually by design that we are addicted to so many things in our life. And it's not necessarily our fault. However, we must take 100% responsibility. And so I've seen every kind of addiction that there is possible. And you wouldn't believe what addiction actually encompasses. Anything from addictive thoughts to sex addiction, alcohol and drug addiction, and every behavioral, food addiction, anything you can think of. Addiction is something that we just keep going back for more and we can't stop. And so because of my background, which is very, very varied and very widespread, I've witnessed every kind of addiction as a life coach. And there's some things that I'm going to bring to the table now that will help people understand that while the trauma wasn't our fault, why it was in our family isn't our fault. The place we start is 100% full responsibility for ourselves as physical bodies, mind bodies, and spirit bodies, and wanting better for ourselves. Number one, what I find with the topic of addiction is a lack of self-love. We are looking to fill a void. We're looking to fill this space in many different ways. When we come to the forefront of our lives and there's something missing, there's an imbalance in our lives. And I know this as I was somebody that drank. I didn't drink heavily. I was never addicted, thank God. But it filled that space in me after my divorce, that I didn't feel the pain. I was quite happy, actually. I was riding bulls in a bar. I mean, I was like having the time of my life, right? So not really. But it's this lack of self-love that I didn't really ride a bull, Clayton. He's going to catch me on that later. It's this lack of self-love and lack of self-care, really. And that's what leaves us exposed. It leaves us vulnerable, because we know when we start taking care of ourselves, when we have a certain level of, a high level of self-love and know how to prioritize ourselves, there's no way we would leave ourselves open to doing things that would damage us, right? Right. That's pretty easy to understand. The second thing that I have seen with addiction through a lifetime of understanding people and witnessing what was happening is that lack of willpower. And, you know, some people have a very strong willpower. They can do anything they put their mind to, and other people have struggles. They have a hard time doing that. And in those cases, the implementation of small steps of building the will is something that can be built up. If you're not somebody that has a strong willpower when you were little, or you know, you gave in easily to peer pressure, or these kind of things, your will can be built up. And you know, I talk a lot about things. There's always an undercurrent of what I'm teaching people. And for example, when I talk about fasting, how healthy it is for the body, how good we can heal when we fast, and all these beautiful things, it develops our will. It is a beautiful way to stop the addiction of eating 3 meals a day, snacks, and the nighttime cocktail. And so fasting is an exercise in rebuilding that will. So for people that are having addiction problems, or even if they're minor, whether they're major or they're minor, we know that there needs to be work on their will. And that can be fixed. Absolutely. We cannot excuse situations unless they're truly the stage 4 alcoholic, that it will kill them if they go off of alcohol. We know that that exists, or heroin. But that will can always be developed and grown and utilized even much later. And the third big thing is, the more depleted our body is, the more we're going to crave things that are unhealthy for us. When I say deplete, yes, you know, I'm talking nutritionally, vitamins and minerals. But if we're depleted in love, if we're depleted in balance in any area of our lives, then we're going to go looking for it somewhere else. The ultimate purpose of us being on this earth, one of the big purposes, is finding out who the heck we are. Who are you really? And so until you can get inside and have the will to even discover who you are, why you're here, what's your purpose. And we all have those things, right? But in the context of nutrition, it is astounding to me. It is absolutely astounding. And, you know, I do speaking engagements at Margaritaville. It's a big Partyville retirement community. And when some of my clients that are from there start eating healthy, get on the clean wagon, I hear it time and time and time again. Laura, I didn't even crave that wine. I don't even need to drink wine every night, because their body is finally getting satiated and it stops craving. And it's the same with processed foods. The more processed foods that we eat, guess what's happening? As I talk about all the time, mass food manufacturers, fast food restaurants, they spend billions of dollars getting into the consumer's brains, literally breaking the blood-brain barrier and getting in there and keeping people addicted. And so your nutrition is priority, because when your body has all that it has nutritionally, you have the energy, your mitochondria, your cells are binging. They have all the energy that they need. You're not going to fall as a victim to these less than lifestyle factors. It's a fact. It's scientific fact, guys. And I want you to add to that society wants us addicted. If you don't believe me, listen to any country song. It's all about drinking, going to the bar, drinking, meeting somebody, you know, and I like country. I'm not dissing it. But if you listen to Sirius Radio and you listen to Barefoot Radio on Sirius, what are they all doing? They're at the beach and they're drinking. Jimmy Buffett Radio, what are they doing? They're at the beach, they're drinking. If you watch the commercials, it's cocktails, it's Corona beer commercials. They want you guys to be in that. Alcohol is a poison. There's no, it's a poison. That's what it is. And so we take that hook, line, and sinker and say, but everybody does it. Everybody has a beer after work, or everybody eats pizza Friday nights. But how much is too much? And when you find yourself that you have to have these things, it's like the gentleman that I had, I hate to keep bringing him up, but he was drinking 19 Diet Cokes a day. How does somebody get to that point? The chemicals they put in the processed foods and beverages. Okay, so know that the alcohol, the drugs, they're there for a reason, to capture those that are weak. And if you don't believe me, then why in the heck are they not stopping fentanyl from being on the streets? Just walk through California. So societal pressures, TV, commercials, advertising, country songs, they okay it, they normalize it. The commercials talking about food and chocolate and pharmaceutical drugs were just as addicting. They're addicting. There's no two ways about it. And so they leave us vulnerable. So I know Rachel would agree with me when we talk about addiction, it's all about taking your power back. And I was talking to somebody today, her brother's a heroin addict. And that's tough. He's been in jail all of his life. How do you help those people? And I promise you one thing, the help has to come from within himself. You guys know at my age, and we all know, if, when we knew of somebody addicted, we can't help them until they want to help themselves. And it's the same with us. If you find that you've got something that you're addicted to, we've got to call it out. You know what? You're right. I am addicted to chocolate. I kind of coasted around, kind of just I eat it a lot, but I didn't think it was a big deal. But until you actually call out your addiction, it's unnamed. Okay. It's just a part of your life. Call it what it is. This requires self-awareness and honesty with yourself. You know, we talk about light and dark. Until we pull out from the dark what is hidden and bring it to the light. When we bring what's in the dark to the light, it can be healed. So we have to have that level of self-awareness. We need to set clear goals. If you don't, I always told my kids when I raised my kids, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything, right? So if you find something that you're addicted to, like, no lie, guys, I was OCD when I was a kid. Did I tell you guys this story? My mom had an Oriental rug with the fringe, and I had OCD bad. I counted the lanes on the road. I didn't step on cracks. And I would have to vacuum the house every day. I had that addiction every day for many years. Broke myself, thank you, Jesus, because the cleaning thing, I'm not. But I would take a comb to the fringe of the Oriental rug, and it would have to be combed every day. Now, of course, my brother was blind, and he'd walk across the carpet, and what would happen? He would trip over the fringe and mess it up, and I'm losing my shit because the fringe is messed up. And so it was this really diabolical OCD thing, but it was an addiction. And I did break it myself, guys. I forced myself. I must have strong willpower, but I forced myself to just stop. And I've had to do that many times in my life. But you have to set clear goals. If you have a chocolate addiction, set the clear goal. If you have a alcohol addiction, set a clear goal. Because nothing happens in our lives, nothing, until we make a critical decision. I talk about this all the time, the critical decision. You've all done that. If you've ever broke up with somebody, you never broke up with them until you did what? You had a critical decision. Okay, I'm done. I'm breaking up with them. And then you broke up, right? Like, that was your decision. And that critical decision has to come within us. I'm done with alcohol. I'm done with the sex addiction. I'm done with the chocolate chip cookies. Just kidding, Brenda. So obviously for some that are heavy into some very addicting drugs and alcohol situations, they do need to seek help. I'm not here to speak to those deep things. And help is out there. My husband did get better, by the way. He went to 3 different rehabs and he's fine today and remarried. It's also really important to have, obviously, a very good support system. We all know that. Having people like Rachel and I in your lives are great, because if you can get with people that are healers that can get to the root cause of, and you know, we don't think about that. We're like, well, it's just a simple little chocolate addiction. It's not hurting anybody. But why is it there? That self-awareness of asking myself, why is it there though? Why can't I stop myself? You know, whether it's Diet Coke or whatever the addiction is. The other thing that I've had great luck with helping people with any kind of addiction is replacing those bad habits with a healthier habit. Just, there's nothing like distraction. I don't care what anybody says, it works. Distracting is amazing. If you are somebody that, I don't know if you're retired or work, whatever you do, because people are going to watch this on the replay, but you go to work and you come home and you make dinner and you're cracking open a beer, you're cracking open the wine, or you're smoking the weed, whatever it is. I had a lady that was addicted to her couch. She would get home, sit on that couch and not get up again. But it was also a place for her to be depressed. It was a safety thing for her. She wouldn't go do anything. She wouldn't go take a walk. She wouldn't go do anything. And so we have to change things around. When you come home, do not come home and do the same routine. You have to create a new routine and replace it with different behaviors. We are learnable, we're coachable. We are not stuck in the same habit creatures. We don't have to stay stuck. That's our choice. And so, by the way, that is the one thing that has helped me the most, is when I found myself with any kind of behavior that's like not good for me, and I see myself in the rut, then I change my behavior. I catch myself and say, Laura, why are you doing this? Let's do something different, because, you know, the craving's going to come. If it's, let's just say it's chocolate, the chocolate craving's going to come. So what do? I replace that behavior with a healthier behavior. I have other healthier alternative desserts at my hand. Anything I want that's sweet, that's not bad for me, I'll have at my house. If I used to drink a cocktail like Patron and soda water and lemon. If I was used to that, I make sure now I have a San Pellegrino or a Perrier, and I squeeze a lemon in it. I'm happy. I don't need anything else. I'm perfectly happy. So find the alternative healthy habit. Obviously meditation, because what do I say all the time? Until the last word when I die, Laura, what's your last word? Everybody meditate, please. Because meditation unravels that behavior. It brings the you out, the real authentic you, and starts removing these behaviors, these habits that are no longer serving you, as the true you starts rising up. Okay. And then lastly, stay committed and patient. So many people, when we're dealing with addictions and we have to start building new habits, we need to start infusing the body with lots of nutrients, because the body's very depleted when it's going through addictions. The one thing is, people lose their steam really quick. They lose their steam. And what really needs to happen to beat these addictions from a lifestyle level is committedness and patience. Because we're talking about doing things, Rachel and I, holistically, naturally. Yeah, there's drugs you can go take, Wellbutrin. You can get on an antidepressant to get you off the alcohol and the drugs. Sure, doctors have all kind of stuff. and it'll work relatively easy within 30 days. When we do things holistically, naturally, we go to the root cause, which Rachel's going to help you do. And then you begin these lifestyle changes with by bringing your awareness up and start treating your body as if it was a sacred and divine being that it is. And your body demands your committedness to it and your patience with it, your love with it, your awareness of it all the time, all the time, all the time. And that is it with me. And I used to say all the time, I don't say it anymore, but I used to say it all the time. If I didn't love myself, if I didn't care about myself, then I'd eat like shit. But I do love myself. I do care about myself. I have a certain amount of compassion towards myself and all the trauma that I've been through. I feel like I've been through enough shit in my life. I feel like now I'm finding the real way to real health and to real joy and to real happiness, because addictions are filling what kind of hole? A tiny little minuscule hole. And when the drugs wear away, the alcohol goes away, you wake up the next morning, or you slept with a new stranger at the bar, but you wake up the next morning, you're still you. And so that's what this is about. So Rachel and I do deal with addictions one-to-one. It's not something that I work in a group with, obviously. So if anybody is listening and they need help with addictions, we can definitely go deeper. We can do another session on this, or you can reach out to Rachel and I separately and get some help with Rachel doing some hypnosis, or get some help with me, like getting your body back on track and doing all the things so that your body's not depleted, because a depleted body is the first body that's going to want everything outside of itself. Everything outside of itself. And unless you can be in the present moment and be totally happy and totally joyful all the time, then notice you're always going to look outside of yourself for something to fill that void of happiness. And I promise you, it's in you. You are that. You are that.
Absolutely.
That's
You're that you seek. That
you
external
are
thing
that.
we need. We are, no, that's the thing is, but it's the disconnection that I'm going to talk about as well.
Yeah. And I'm done. So you can take the stage.
Okay. Well, I don't know whether quite a few people probably don't know my story. So I'll just share with you that my second husband was an alcoholic, and I knew that when I married him, and I thought I could fix him. I thought I could love him better. It didn't work. But I learned a lot in that marriage, and without him, I wouldn't be where I am today, because he made me wake up to myself. So I'm very grateful for him in that respect. And that is another reason why I'm passionate about this, because if I did try and help him, I just qualified in what I do now, but he wasn't interested at that point in time. So addiction is any behavior that a person finds relief from, anything, and it therefore craves it in the short term, and then doesn't when it gives that negative connotations, they can't give it up. Whether it's eating, whether it's work, whether it's extreme sports, whether it's porn, whether it's shopping, whether it's sugar, whatever it might be, whether it's chocolate, all of that is because there's that quick fix initially, and then the negative connotations come in later, whether it's weight gain or whatever it is that or other health issues that it brings along with it. So that is what addiction is. So it's any substance outside of yourself trying to fill the void, as Laura said. But what the real thing is that there's a lot of it is about trauma, because where did that lack come from? There's that void inside ourselves. Where did that void come from in the first place? It came from lack of self-love, which is from trauma, because trauma is anything, any event, any situation that made you feel bad about yourself. And I would say it's not a choice that that happened to you, but it is, you know, the trauma that you went through isn't your fault, but it is our responsibility to heal it. And like Laura said, awareness is key. So now it's in your awareness. It's the time to take responsibility, to look at why you do what you do, and then you can start healing it and replenishing it and start putting different, more positive changes in place instead. So it's not a choice necessarily, and I would say as well, it's not necessarily a lack of will, because if you've had real deep trauma, then it's going to be that emotional drive to keep you in that self-soothing mode, and that's really what's going on. So it can be an impact from childhood trauma. Most of the time it's about healing that trauma. Trauma is anything that made you disassociate from yourself, so it doesn't have to be a major thing. It can be a teacher, it can be, of course, it can be sexual abuse or neglect or anything deeper than that, but it's anything really that made you feel bad about yourself. And the thing is, media shows addiction as a desperate thing. It shows you people that are desperate, but it doesn't tell you why they're desperate. It doesn't doesn't discuss what drives that cycle. And so it is possible to heal from that trauma effectively when we do it at the root, so that it's because trauma really affects how you feel about yourself. You've got that shame, the guilt, tremendous emotional pain is really what you're self-soothing with in the addiction of whatever the addiction is. So let's really release that, and then you can come back to yourself, because trauma is the disconnect and healing is the reconnection to yourself. Because we have three basic needs when we're younger. We have the healthy boundaries where we're allowed to have our autonomy. And if we had to rely on, look at other people and regulate ourselves against them because it wasn't safe to share our emotions perhaps in your family. And so you disconnect from yourself. It's not feeling safe, it's not feeling loved or not being loved unconditionally. All of those can really feed into addiction. So what I would like to do tonight is we're not going to go to the root as such, because a lot of people with addiction have got really heavy trauma. And so, like Laura said, that's more of a one-to-one setting rather than going in that deep stuff. So tonight I'm going to take you to a happy scene where you can reconnect to your younger you, and then we can do some healing work with that happier version of you and really nurture that little young person that is you, that's so beautiful and wants you, that adult you, to come and connect with them and release them and heal them. Okay, so when you're ready, if you've got any questions, let's use this now as if you've got any questions at all or anything you want to add. No? Okay. And if you're watching on the replay, then just message us or pop the comments in the group. That would be wonderful. So to start with, I'd like you just to get comfortable. And as you're getting comfortable, this is your time. So this is your time just to focus on yourself. So as you're getting comfortable, just allow a wave of relaxation to flow down from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And just allow a drifting, floating feeling to develop in your body. And allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into this beautiful, relaxed state. And just focus your awareness on those tiny muscles around your eyes and allow them to relax, just as if you've got a warm towel placed over them. Just feel the whole area of your eyes relaxing, softening. Relax every muscle and nerve in and around your eyes. Relax your mouth. Relax your jaw. Relax your neck and shoulders. And allow that wave of relaxation to go down through to the tips of your fingers. That's so good. And just allow yourself to go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper. Go 10 times deeper, 20 times deeper. Just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And allow all the ligaments in your back to relax. Your chest is relaxing now. Your stomach, your hips, your legs, your shins and calves, ankles and feet, and even your toes. And as you're relaxing, I'm just going to count you down to an even deeper state of relaxation. So 10, drifting deeper and deeper, nice and relaxed. 9, this is your time. Just allow yourself to go deeper and deeper and deeper still. 8, just listen to the sound of my voice and allow you to go deeper. 7, with every breath you take, you're going deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed. 6, just imagine a blanket of comfort wrapping around you. And allow yourself to go deeper. 5 and 4. My voice is just allowing you to relax more and more. 3 and 2, just allow that drifting, floating feeling to develop in your body and allow it to continue. 1, just go deeper, sink deeper, drift deeper. And as you go deeper, the better you feel, and the better you feel, the more your mind and body relax. And as you're relaxing, I'd like you to go to a happy scene between the ages of 2 and 11, and your mind knows exactly which scene I'm talking about. Going to that happy scene when you're a little child. You're being pulled back, drawn back, going right back to a happy scene that's all to do with you in your childhood. So you're going right back there right now. So just be there. You just be there. So where you are now, is it daytime or nighttime? Are you inside or outside? Are you alone or is somebody with you? Just look over and around that scene. Really take it all in. It's you, that little version of you, younger version of you, feeling happier and content. What are you doing? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? Okay. Now I'd like you to go into that scene, you as an adult, and go into that scene as though you are your own loving parent or an older brother, older sister. Go in and just talk to that little you and tell her all the things, or him and her, whichever, the things that you want to hear that child. Wrap your arms around them and tell them how amazing they are, how lovable they are. Be that loving parent that you needed in that moment. Tell them how special they are. Tell them that all the trauma they experienced wasn't their fault. Really give all the advice that you can give them. Allow them to feel whole. Allow them to see that whatever hurt them wasn't their fault. that they have got no blame or shame to carry. It's not their fault. They can drop the shame, drop the guilt, drop the burdens, drop all of it, because they were just a little dependent child back then. So give them all that empowering stuff that they needed, that they need now. And allow them to see that whatever they went through meant that they disconnected from themselves. So get down to their level, get down to that eye-to-eye contact and talk to them. Tell them that they're loved. That's deep healing. Tell them, I love you. You matter. You're such a sweet thing. You're such a gift to the world. I'm grateful for you. You're such a strong individual. You can do anything you put your mind to. Just give them all the love in the world, because that's what they need. They need nurturing, they need safety. So even if it wasn't safe back then, you can take them back to your house or your home where you live now, or somewhere that feels safe to them, maybe a special place that feels safe. Take them there. Tell them that they're safe now. Tell them that they got away from whatever it was that hurt them. Allow them to feel proud of themselves, that despite all that, they made it. Allow them to see all the achievements they've achieved through their life up until now. Just surviving is an amazing achievement, isn't it? And now you're giving them that love that they needed in way back when. It's so healing. So you could, if they're little, you can pick them up and hug them. Or if they're a little bit bigger, you could just wrap your arms around them, but give them all the love and care. And you know what you need better than I know. So just I'm going to give you some silence so that you can feel into that of what you need, and give them, be that deeply impressed parent or the deeply impressed teacher. Be that loving big brother, sister to them. Nurture them. Allow them to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel heard. Allow them to have that non-judgmental space. None of it was their fault. It was all just age appropriate, whatever happened, however they processed it. But none of it was their fault. So they can drop the shame, drop the guilt, drop anything else, any other negative emotion that they're holding on to. And then take them to the home that you live now, where it's safe for them to be themselves, safe for them to express themselves, safe for them to be who they are, the real them. Allow you to reconnect to yourself, to nurture yourself. Potentially you perhaps couldn't get away from what went on back then, but now you could drive, you can catch the bus, you can walk away, you can slam the door. There were so many things you could do now that you couldn't do back then. So we want you to really take your power back from what hurt you. This is your time to rewrite that story. And remember, none of that was your fault. Pour all that love into that little one, that younger you. Take them away from that home, bring them into somewhere safe, so they feel seen, heard, valued, loved, safe, special, amazing. Tell them everything that they need to hear. Tell them that they're amazing, that they're clever, that they're smart, they're intelligent. All of that is true. They maybe didn't hear it when they were growing up, but it doesn't make it false. It's still true. They are amazing. You're here on the planet right here, right now, which means you're lovable just by being here. And as that younger you learned that you couldn't connect to other people. So you found other ways. You found a substance to connect. But you don't need that now because you've got the older version of you to connect to. And they're never going to abandon you or disappear or leave you or shame you. You've got that bond, that really special bond now to connect with, to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel validated. Such a gift you've given yourself there, right here, right now. Just feel that love from that older version of you coming into that younger you. Just a couple more minutes, give them whatever they need. Give them the comfort they need. Give them the love that they need. The reassurance. Allow them to take the power back from what hurt them. Okay, so feeling wonderful, feeling self-assured, feeling loved, feeling confident. You can come back into the room feeling amazing. So how was that?
Very good.
Mm.
Very interesting to go back to when I was like 4 and pushing my cat around in a stroller.
Oh, I did
It was
that
so
too.
cute. Did you? Of course you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, that's so good. So all of it is a disconnect. And so by reconnecting to ourselves, because that is the void we're seeking, it's that lack of self-love. And by reconnecting to the love within ourselves, it stops the void in there. So the more you can do this, you can take, you can do this anytime. Well, not obviously not when you're driving, but you can use this as an exercise to when when you've got a few minutes to yourself where you can just reconnect to that younger you and give them the love. Or if you've got children at home, or you've got a pet, and every time you tell your pet or your kids or your grandkids, I love you. Oh yeah, me too. Don't forget yourself. I love me too. You can have, at the beginning of our sessions, we were doing mirror work. So just remember to put the things around your mirror and say, I'm amazing, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I can do anything I put my mind to, which is all this is true. So by talking to yourself in a much more loving way, like a deeply impressed teacher or a best friend, that's really nourishing to your inner being. So it's reconnecting to yourself. So all of that helps so much and like Laura said, once you love who you are, you don't need all the other stuff to make you feel better, because you're nourishing yourself with really nutritious food. You're nourishing yourself with your own love, and no one's going to take that away. Like when you were a kid and your needs weren't met, you had to make that mean I'm not lovable. But now you can meet your own needs. No one can take that away anymore. So that is the beautiful thing. When you start being your own loving parent, that's so deep healing. So, if you catch yourself as well with any negative self-talk, oh, that's an old pattern. I'm changing that. So just be aware of what you say to yourself, because it's all of it is possible to heal from it. And it all starts with that awareness, like Laura said at the beginning. So by being aware of what you're saying to yourself, being aware that all the addiction stuff is lack of self-love, give yourself more love. That's the tonic. That's the thing. And you can do that yourself. Doesn't cost anything. Just talk to yourself in a loving way. It takes time, it takes practice. Don't shame or blame yourself if you can't do it in a first second, but it's a learned behavior. All of it's a learned behavior. So just start now, and then if you drift off, start again. And just keep practicing. It's like learning the piano. You can't go to the piano and play Beethoven straight away. You have to learn where C sharp is or where middle C is and all the rest of it. It takes time. So
yeah,
just yourself that time.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying for that commitment and patience. It's like when people, for instance, want to start eating healthy and then they find out that, oh, I went off the wagon and had, Pizza Hut and cheeseburgers all weekend long. And then they just continue on that trend instead of just being like, oh, okay, well, I had that this weekend. Let me start back again the next day, doing the right thing by my body and being as healthy as I can. It's not a race, it's a journey. And it's like you never do lose the wind in your sails unless you tell yourself you do. It's, I'm 25 years in on this journey and I will never arrive perfect ever. And I don't strive to be, but it's one thing that, nobody seems to tell us is the amount of patience and compassion and commitment to ourselves. It takes time. Give yourself the time. The worst case scenario is, well, I'm doing all the things that they all said for me to heal myself, and I should be here by now, which is just a comparison and a judgment. The comparison and a judgment to who? To who are we judging ourselves up against,
Exactly. So is that
Yeah.
perfect person? They just don't
Yeah.
exist.
Okay, so you recommit and you do your thing and you that's where you are. So yeah,
Exactly. Without any shame, blame, or judgment. Just like, okay, well, that was the weekend and now I'm going to start again.
right, right. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Be careful of that losing steam thought of, well, I already messed up, so I've done no good now. I might as well just keep smoking weed or whatever, keep eating whatever it is. It's like, no, allow yourself to have done something different and then go back to doing what's right. It's what it takes over and over and over and over. And our brain neuroplasticity is so gorgeous when we develop habits in our life, we develop these deep grooves in our brains, and these grooves are deep. And when we want to get out of these bad habits, we have to develop new grooves in our brain. And these grooves need to be deep, and they can, but not until we switch those habits out and create these new, better grooves with better habits, you see.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. How long did it take you to form the bad habit? So it's going to take a while to form the new one. And like you said, it's like a tram track. So just keep going over and over and over it with the new habit. You'll form the new pathways quite quickly, really. But just keep doing it.
Yeah, we're totally trained. Our brain is totally like, whatever you want to do, you can do, be, or have anything you want. Your brain can do it. We have limited ourselves. I'm about to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff, but we have limited ourselves to this I can't, when we can overcome addiction. We absolutely can. And if you can believe that, then that's the will that I'm talking about, which is your spiritual will, not your human willpower. I'm talking about your spiritual will. When you believe that you can, that there is absolutely another option, you're well on your way to achieving what you want. It's those that are stuck in the I can't, I've never been able to, I won't be able to, this is too big, too deep, too long, been doing this my whole life. Yeah. Those are the ones that are like, I'll stay in the old grooves in my brain, and don't want to. So
it's all possible.
Yeah. Belief systems, guys, belief systems.
Yes. The crazy subconscious stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rachel, for that hypnosis. That was cool.
Good. You're welcome. And if you've got any, if you want to reach out to Laura and I, like we said earlier, just feel free to. If you want to a one-to-one or something like that, then let us know. We can arrange that, can't we?
I cannot be helping you with no chocolate addiction. No, I'm just kidding. Because I got one too. I'm just kidding. I don't. I do love chocolate, but I can go months without it. But it is one of those things, if you eat chocolate, like that cookie, Brenda, I do want another one.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful way to start small, is just have one cookie, and then another day, not you, Brenda, but just for an example, for anything. And then the next day, just have 3/4 of a cookie. And then the next day, just have half a cookie, or maybe for a week you have 3/4 of a cookie. And then for a week you just have half a cookie. So there's all different ways of weaning ourselves off these addictions. So be resourceful and creative, whatever works for you.
I only like them when they're fresh out of the oven.
Oh my gosh, me too. All warm and gooey. Oh my gosh.
Beautiful. We're going to yours.
Well, okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we went over today?
You always go back to meditation, Laura.
Yes.
So is guided meditation okay? Or
it can be. It can be, especially in the case, several reasons guided might help. For those that don't really know how to meditate, but they want to start learning how to meditate, then guided meditation are good. And then there's those people like Rachel that are really good with guided meditation, and they can speak to your subconscious and really help you break some habits or heal something that needs healed. Before I learned how to meditate on my own, I used a lot of guided meditations to heal the inner child. All of these self-love meditate, I used a lot. And all of those eventually led me to just, my own solo meditation. And I mention meditation a lot because it's a cure for everything. It just is. And that's why it's talked about by all the sages, the prophets, all the holy people, all the ancients. It's why it's been talked about, is because what we get lost in are these behaviors, which is just our ego, our personality is doing all of this. It's not the real us. Like Rachel has that diamond that's really us, or I talk about the egg and we're the perfect chicken in the egg. Well, it's our ego and personality that's doing these behaviors. The real you is just fine without the cookie, just fine, doesn't need it. But our personality's like, give me the cookie, you know? And so meditation just unravels it all. And I can't even tell you as a testimony of the things that meditation has healed within Laura, from healing different personality traits to uncovering more and more and more the real me. And when you uncover more and more the real you, the more successful you become, the more happy you become, the more all of these things start happening in your life so smoothly, so beautifully, synchronicities, miracles. So that's where that awareness comes in too. But meditation does take time too. It's a commitment. It's a commitment. Any other questions? Okay. Well, do we know what we're talking about in 2 weeks? Let's look at the dates. So we have that. I believe we're meeting the first week of July.
Yeah, third.
July 3rd. Woo. And I don't know what we're talking about yet. Do you guys have any suggestions, Brenda or Clayton? Anything in the whole entire world that you want to discuss?
Wow.
But if not, Rachel and I will discuss it. We will go over some things and we will find something just as exciting, if not more exciting.
Wow, we could, there's quite a lot we could discuss that we haven't yet done. We could do fears or phobias, we could do vision and sight, we could do procrastination, depression, relationships.
Those are all good.
Yeah, those are all good.
Any in particular? Like, oh, ear prick up moment?
Why
Relationship.
don't we? Yeah, relationships are a big one. Yeah, that would probably, yeah, let's do that. I like that. That's going to touch on everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not escaping this one. Let me write that down so I know. Okay, good. So July 3rd, we're going to do on relationships. That's
Awesome.
going to be a really good one, guys. Don't miss that one. Okay.
Awesome.
That's that. All right. Thank you again, Rachel. Thank you,
Okay.
Brenda and Clayton, for meeting with us this Wednesday. And thank you, everybody on the replay, for watching.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Look forward to catching up with you soon, everybody. Bye for now then.
Thank you. Bye.